All right, another big week here, picking up a really nice win against Lars and the Borussia Donphan. I guess I'm ready to take a few questions about this game and maybe a little bit about next week as well.
Mr. Joe, it's your favorite friend of the Verd here from the Daily Dingo. I have some more questions.
How's it going? What do you got?
All right. So, obviously, first week, bit of a shaky start. This week looked a lot more commanding in your performance. What were your thoughts about the Week 2 match?
Well, I was really happy with it. Definitely. That was a game that's really important, I think, especially because Lars's draft, I feel, is like one of the strongest in the league, easily one of the strongest in my division. So being able to pick up the divisional victory against a solid player with a solid draft, that's always a pretty good way to start the season. So really happy with how it went. Obviously brought a bit of a gimmicky team this week, so it's good that that worked out for the better as well. Lets me save a few of potentially my more standard strategies for the rematch I have to be looking forward to here later on. But overall, really happy with it, obviously, with picking up the win.
Ooh. Hey there, Jolt. It's Maddie here from the Pokemon Tribune.
How's it going, Maddie?
And I'm good, man. I was just busy doing my Bring Sally Up challenge, and I saw that the video came up, and I was really inspired by the triple scarf set that you brought. I thought it was really great and everything. I just want to know, like, what was the inspiration for bringing this set?
Well, basically just came down to speed control. In this case, I knew that Lars's team was very offensive, especially like the best mons he had against me. I felt like those were all the more offensive and frail mons, and as a result, I really expected him to bring pretty much all offensive and frail Pokemon. The only exceptions being maybe like Tapu Fini, Kieran Black, which obviously I had the Mega Venu to help with. But yeah, I just felt like I really wanted to command the speed in the game, and what better way to do that than with the item that boosts my speed all on its own than Choice Scarf. So I just slapped on 3 of those because I felt like I had 3 Choice Scarf users that synergized really well together offensively, as like Gardevoir was able to weaken down the Tapu Fini really well for the Arcanine, and the Hydreigon was able to just put a lot of pressure on against his team offensively with its coverage and being able to U-turn on the Fini, maybe into Gardevoir or into the Mega Venusaur. So I just felt like the synergy of the Triple Scarfers was a good idea, and obviously ended up working out pretty well. So yeah, can't really ask for much more than that. But yeah, it's kind of the idea behind it. Mainly just speed control is the answer to the question, but the offensive synergy between the two was also a leading factor as to why I decided to do that.
Oh, that's very understandable. And we actually got a fan question here from the Golden Centurion. How do you know when to set such creative sets? Like, when's the right time?
Well, my recommendation would just be to just use them when you know they will work. Like, I'm the kind of guy who wants to basically plan out an entire match, especially like the opening sequences before I actually get into it. And like in this case specifically with the Nature Power Venusaur, which is I assume what he was referring to, it was something that I was just very confident would work out, because like I was saying in the team builder, I really felt like it was Lars's best possible play to switch in a Kieran Black into a Mega Venusaur in the presence of Misty Terrain, because of how big of a threat Kieran Black is against my team, and how most Kieran Blacks are going to be bulkier by nature and have Roost to potentially roost off any damage from the likely Sludge Bomb. So I really thought that play was going to happen, and that's why I ended up going with such a gimmicky or creative, however you want to describe it, set with the Nature Power Mega Venusaur. But if he's, more specifically referring to the Choice Scarfs in this case, then, those sets on their own aren't necessarily that creative. Like Scarfed Arcanine, you don't see that very often, but Scarfed Hydreigon, Scarfed Guard, those are pretty common sets. So the collective of them, again, goes back to the speed control idea. But yeah, the best answer I can give to you is just that you do that whenever you know it'll work, and if you aren't confident it'll work, it's probably not the best idea to do, because usually those types of sets are pretty high risk, high reward.
We got the Daily Dingo back here. Just a question from another fan, Lagodia. You're just wondering, what was the purpose of Z Metal Sound on Celesteela in this matchup?
Yeah, so I guess I never really explained that very well in the team builder. So the idea behind Z Metal Sound, first of all, Z Metal Sound essentially lets Celesteela get a +1 special attack boost, in addition to the effect of the Metal Sound dropping the opponent's SPDF by 2 stages. So what that does, it's effectively a tail glow at that point, which is really nice in terms of setting up in the face of something that's a little bit fatter. I really expected Lars to take more of an offensive approach to this game, which makes Autotomize plus the Steel, Stab, and Ground coverage the optimal 3 moves for this game, but just in case he decided to bring more of a balanced or even just some really fat, specially defensive walls that actually could wall my Celesteela. I wanted to make sure I had a way to deal with those. So something like even a Calm Mind Tapu Fini, something like Komala. Not that Komala is actually a check to Celesteela at all, but it technically would have been able to check my Celesteela set if it was specially defensive and if I was not carrying Metal Sound, just because I wouldn't have any way to get a boost to 2-hit KO Komala. So those types of situations is why I had Metal Sound for this week, and Z Metal Sound just gives me that extra potential to get that special attack boost if I'm in a position where I need that special attack boost, maybe with the Autotomize already up or something like that. But in reality, it was mainly just there to make sure I couldn't be walled by anything with Celesteela, but the main idea with the set going in was more so to Autotomize if the opportunity arises, or to just blow something back with a Z Flash Cannon / the ground coverage that hits all of his steel resists. So yeah, just overall good set against this team.
Hello, Jolt. This is Keegan calling from the Goat Gazette. So, Lars, including some of the commenters on the team builder, were kind of concerned about some of the team building prep. They recognized Breloom as a huge threat. Would be able to provide some insight as to why that did not come in, why you thought that it wasn't good for the matchup?
Yeah, so it's not that Breloom isn't good in the matchup. It's a good mon. I actually like Breloom in pretty much any matchup, if I'm being honest. The issue here is that, first of all, the point behind the team was to command speed. And when I'm commanding speed, Breloom's only really good at that through Mach Punch. Otherwise, Breloom is, quite frankly, very slow at base 70 speed. So that was one thing. I really wanted to command speed with Choice Scarf users, and I felt like Breloom wasn't really the best Choice Scarf user for the matchup, given the responses my opponent had to it. But in terms of the Life Orb Breloom set that I know a comment was made about as being a potential option that would have been really good against Lars's team, I kind of agree, but I kind of disagree as well, because as you saw from Lars's team builder, or as you hopefully have seen from his team builder, he over-prepped for Breloom. He brought Safety Goggles Torn, as well as pretty much I think every single member of his team had a way to one-shot Breloom from full health. So that's over-prepping for Breloom, and my opponent really did that, and I kind of expected that to happen as well. So that's another reason why I opted not to bring Breloom. Plus, he just has naturally good checks to Breloom, with Tornadus and Gengar both being able to resist both of Breloom's stabs and being able to knock it out immediately in return, as well as the Tapu Fini being probably the main thing I would want to bring Breloom to offensively deal with. That can be invested in enough to outspeed me. So just because that's base 80, Breloom is base 70, so I can't even guarantee to outspeed it. So there were a lot of reasons why I didn't think Breloom was quite as optimal, at least for this specific team build, against Lars's team. But yeah, main thing was its speed and the fact that he had so many ways to offensively check it that I didn't feel like it was going to be as valuable as the Triple Scarfers were, or as my more defensive mons were in this matchup.
Hello there, Jolt. It's Styx here for the Token Obituaries. I'm here about to write up a piece about Joey Pokeyame, who is your next opponent. And I was just wondering, what are your thoughts about his draft, and how do you want to approach building for it, since we're all assuming he's going to be dead next week?
How's it going, Styx? Joey's draft. Joey has a fun draft. Okay, I'll definitely give him that. It looks like a really fun draft to use. He has a double DD core, the Zygarde, the Mega Gyarados, which can even stay in the form of a regular Gyarados, which I would argue is actually a little better against my team than Mega Gyarados is, personally. So he has those pretty cool threats. He also has like a Stack Attacka, which that's just an awesome mon, one of the new mons here from Ultra Sun and Moon, and a lot of other cool threats too. But the main thing about Joey's draft that I personally don't like is that it is full of 4x weaknesses, and I feel like that's something that can be well prepared for. Like in theory, if you have a lot of 4x weaknesses, then that might help you a little bit in the long run in terms of your own prep, just because your opponent is forced to choose a hidden power. But the fact remains that you don't really have to choose your hidden power unless two things with a quad weakness are able to wall the same Pokemon. So for example, if I were to bring something like one of my special threats, like a Hydreigon or a Gardevoir, and I wanted to be able to deal with whatever I predict his switch in to be, I can just run a hidden power for that Pokemon if it has a 4x weakness. And I'm not going to have to run a hidden power for something that's never going to switch into Gardevoir, for example, or never that's going to switch into Hydreigon, for example. So yeah, in essence, I think that's like the biggest flaw of Pokeyame's draft. I don't like that. I also don't like his speed tiers. I think that's something else that can also be abused pretty well. Plus, his offense really comes from that combination of the Zygarde, the Mega Gyarados / Gyarados, and the Stack Attack, all of which are kind of walled by Breloom if I run more of a defensive set, so a little bit of a spoiler when you look into my team builder tomorrow, but yeah, Breloom defensively matches up really well against him too, so just some flaws I see in his team, some things I can try to build around. Breloom definitely being the central component of what I'm going to try to do against him in the next game.
Alright, just to finish this one off, Daily Dingo here again, and we just want to know, do you have any final words for Joey for a poke game?
Yeah, you know, I have a lot of respect for you, Joey, and the fact remains, though, that I have no intentions to lose this game, so all I can really say is good luck, and I want to see what you're made of. Any further questions? Alright, so I think we are done here. Thanks for coming out to the press conference today, guys, and I hope you guys are looking forward to our team builder coming up tomorrow for Week 3 against PokeMMD and his Bronx Beartics, and the battle coming up on Sunday, of course, against the same dude. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Thanks for coming out, guys, and I will see you all next time.